In a small, secluded village nestled deep within the dense forests of Eastern Europe, there lay an ancient cemetery that held secrets no one dared to uncover. The locals spoke of it cautiously, for its history was shrouded in mystery and fear. It was said that one grave, marked by a crumbling headstone inscribed with cryptic symbols, concealed not just a body, but a dark and powerful secret capable of unraveling the very fabric of reality. This is the story of how that secret came to light and the terrible price paid by those who sought to uncover it. It all began on a cold November evening when young historian Elena Novak arrived at the village. She was following a local legend while searching for tangible evidence for her doctoral thesis. But what she found went far beyond anything any story could tell. Join us today as we take you on a thrilling journey filled with horror and suspense, revealing the truth behind the secret that wasn't buried with the corpse. Will Elena and Ivan manage to reseal this secret forever? Or has evil already been unleashed? Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more spine-chilling stories like this. If you enjoyed this chilling beginning, there's no turning back, because some secrets are not meant to be unearthed. Some secrets are meant to stay buried. If you liked this haunting intro and gripping story, don't forget to hit the like button to support the video. And make sure to subscribe to the channel to get more thrilling and terrifying stories like this one. Join our community to stay updated with every new episode, because you never know what might await you next. The secret that wasn't buried with the corpse. In a small, secluded village nestled deep within the dense forests of Eastern Europe, there existed an ancient cemetery that whispered secrets to those who dared listen. The villagers spoke little of it, for its history was shrouded in mystery and fear. It was said that one grave, marked by a crumbling headstone inscribed with cryptic symbols, held more than just a body. It concealed a secret so dark and powerful that it could unravel the very fabric of reality. This is the story of how that secret came to light, and the terrible price paid by those who sought to uncover it. A curious discovery. It all began on a cold November evening when Elena Novak, a young historian from the nearby town of Zarevgrad, arrived in the village. She had been researching local folklore for her doctoral thesis and had heard whispers about the mysterious cemetery. Intrigued, she decided to visit it herself, hoping to find some tangible evidence of the legend surrounding it. Elena was not alone in her curiosity. Her younger brother, Ivan, accompanied her despite his initial reluctance. Ivan, a skeptic by nature, dismissed the tales as mere superstition but agreed to join her out of familial duty, and perhaps a hint of adventure. As they approached the cemetery at dusk, the air grew heavier, and an eerie silence enveloped them. The trees loomed above like skeletal fingers reaching toward the sky, their branches swaying gently in the wind. The ground beneath their feet felt damp and uneven, as if the earth itself were alive and watching. At the heart of the cemetery stood the infamous grave. Its headstone, half buried in moss and dirt, bore strange carvings that seemed almost alien. Elena knelt down to examine them closely, brushing away layers of grime to reveal intricate patterns resembling runes or glyphs. "What do you think they mean?" Ivan asked, peering over her shoulder. "I'm not sure," Elena replied, her voice tinged with excitement. "But these symbols are unlike anything I've seen before. They might be connected to an ancient language or ritual." Her words sparked something in Ivan, a mixture of fascination and unease. He glanced around nervously, feeling as though unseen eyes were fixed upon them. "Let's go home," he suggested. "We can come back tomorrow with better equipment." But Elena was determined. "Not yet. There's something here, Ivan. I can feel it." Without waiting for his response, she pulled out a flashlight and began examining the surrounding graves. One by one, she uncovered similar markings etched into the stones, each slightly different but unmistakably linked to the central grave. Ivan sighed, resigning himself to staying longer. As night fell, the forest grew darker, and the temperature dropped sharply. Despite the chill, neither sibling noticed the faint glow emanating from beneath the soil near the main tomb. The awakening. Back at their rented cottage, Elena spent hours poring over books and manuscripts, searching for clues about the symbols. Meanwhile, Ivan busied himself with mundane tasks, trying to distract himself from the growing sense of dread gnawing at his gut. Late that night, as Elena finally succumbed to exhaustion, Ivan found himself drawn back to the window overlooking the cemetery. Something compelled him to look outside, even though every instinct told him to stay inside. Through the glass, he saw movement, an indistinct shadow flitting between the gravestones. His breath caught in his throat as he realized it wasn't random. The figure appeared to be heading straight for the marked grave. Summoning what little courage he had, Ivan grabbed a lantern and ventured outside. The closer he got to the cemetery, the stronger the sensation became, that someone, or something, was watching him. When he reached the grave, he froze. There, standing beside the headstone, was a woman dressed in tattered black robes. Her face was obscured by a veil, but her presence radiated an otherworldly aura. "Who are you?" Ivan stammered, his voice trembling. The woman turned slowly, revealing piercing green eyes that seemed to pierce through his soul. "I am the guardian," she intoned softly. "And you have disturbed my charge." Before Ivan could respond, the ground beneath the grave began to shift. Dirt and debris spilled outward as a hand emerged from the depths, followed by another. A figure clawed its way to the surface, its skin pale and decayed, yet oddly preserved. Ivan stumbled backward, dropping the lantern. Flames licked at the dry grass, illuminating the scene in an unnatural orange glow. The creature stood tall, its hollow eyes locked onto him. "You shouldn't have come here," the guardian whispered, stepping aside to reveal the full horror of the risen corpse. Panic set in as Ivan fled back to the cottage, leaving behind whatever monstrosity had awakened. But the damage was done, the seal had been broken, and the secret buried with the corpse was now free. Unraveling the mystery. The next morning, Elena discovered Ivan sitting hunched over in the kitchen, pale and shaking. When she pressed him for answers, he recounted everything he'd witnessed during the night. At first, Elena dismissed his account as a product of sleep deprivation and stress. But when she returned to the cemetery and found the disturbed grave, along with traces of ash from the fallen lantern, she realized her brother wasn't lying. Together, they delved deeper into the research, consulting ancient texts and consulting local elders who reluctantly shared fragments of forbidden knowledge. What they learned chilled them to the bone. Centuries ago, the village had been plagued by a series of inexplicable disasters, famine, disease, and unexplained deaths. Desperate for salvation, the villagers turned to a powerful sorcerer named Gregor Vasiliev, who promised to banish the evil afflicting them. Gregor succeeded, but at a great cost. He trapped the malevolent entity responsible for the chaos inside the body of a recently deceased villager, sealing it with a complex spell encoded in the mysterious symbols adorning the grave. The sorcerer warned that disturbing the grave would unleash unimaginable horrors upon the world. Now, it seemed, the seal had weakened, and the entity was stirring. The entity's return. Over the following days, strange occurrences plagued the village. Livestock went missing, crops withered overnight, and residents reported seeing shadowy figures lurking in the woods. Panic spread like wildfire, and many families began packing up to leave. Elena and Ivan knew they couldn't abandon the village without attempting to stop the entity. With the help of the elderly priest, Father Petrov, they devised a plan to reseal the grave using the same symbols Gregor had used centuries ago. Their efforts culminated in a harrowing midnight ritual conducted directly above the reopened grave. Armed with candles, incense, and sacred texts, the trio chanted the ancient words while the entity raged below, its unearthly screams echoing through the forest. For a moment, it seemed as though the ritual was working. The ground trembled violently, and a blinding light erupted from the grave, momentarily banishing the darkness. But then, the entity struck back. A massive wave of energy surged upward, knocking Elena and Ivan off their feet. Father Petrov, caught in the blast, collapsed lifelessly to the ground. In his final moments, he whispered, "It's too late." As dawn broke, the siblings surveyed the devastation. The cemetery lay in ruins, the once mighty trees reduced to splinters. And in the center of it all, the grave remained open, its occupant nowhere to be found. Epilogue: The Legacy. News of the tragedy spread beyond the village, drawing attention from scholars, occultists, and government agencies alike. Some claimed the entity had escaped entirely, while others believed it lingered in the shadows, biding its time. Elena and Ivan left the village shortly afterward, forever changed by their experiences. Though they tried to put the ordeal behind them, they both knew the truth: the secret buried with the corpse was far from contained. Years later, reports surfaced of similar disturbances in other parts of the world, strange symbols appearing on ancient tombs, mysterious disappearances, and accounts of shadowy figures haunting remote locations. Whether these events were connected to the entity remains unknown. But one thing is certain: some secrets are meant to stay buried. In the end, Elena and Ivan learned that some secrets are never meant to be uncovered. They paid a heavy price for their curiosity, one they could never have anticipated. But did they truly succeed in resealing the secret? Or is the dark entity still lurking, waiting for the right moment to return? Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this chilling story, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more thrilling tales full of suspense. Join our community to stay updated with all the latest content.